Hello Year 4, welcome to our second RE lesson of this term. Our topic this term was all about Hinduism and how Hindus worship both at home and in the mandir, so in the temples. Now today we are going to identify some characteristics of different Hindu gods and goddesses. You're going to learn a bit more about them. Now I just want to draw your attention to this elephant-headed Hindu god that we looked at last session called Ganesha. Now Ganesha is worshipped, if we remember, by virtually all Hindus. Now Ganesha is the god of wisdom and intellect. That means that he is very clever and wise. He's full of many good talents and good advice. And many Hindus believe that worshipping him will bring them good luck too. Now let's cast our minds back to last week when we looked at this symbol. Do you remember what this symbol was called, and do you remember what it symbolises? Pause the video here and have a think if you remember. Well done. Let's see if you got it right. So this was the Om symbol, and this is one of the most important symbols in Hinduism because it's the symbol of Brahman. And we looked last lesson at how Brahman was the absolute God, and Brahman is the God who is in everything. Now, we looked at the letters A, U and M, representing a sound that many Hindus speak every day. And some people believe that these letters represent a triad, so three things, such as earth, atmosphere and heaven. And although it is three things that represent everything, but Brahman is one God and is represented in many ways. And we are going to learn about how he is represented in many ways today. And Hindus believe that Brahman is the one supreme God, and they also believe that this supreme God is represented in many different ways through other gods and goddesses. Now, if you're a bit confused, I want you to think of it this way. You are not the same person to everyone you meet. To me, your teacher, you are one of my pupils, one of many pupils. To your parents, you are their child. To your brothers or sisters or nephews or nieces or a cousin or even an aunt or an uncle, you're different people to them. You might be a niece, you might be a sister, you might be a cousin. Because even though you are just one person, you are also many people to many different people. Who else might see you differently? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so this is the same as the way that Brahman is represented in many different ways in the form of different gods or goddesses. And each of these gods and goddesses have a variety of different characteristics, and that makes them unique. There are thousands of gods and goddesses, and Hindus also call them deities in Hinduism. And each of these deities have different roles, qualities, and attributes that we were talking about, making them unique. Now, some Hindu families choose one deity to worship at home, and some temples, so mandirs, worship just one deity in particular too. Although in these mandirs they have images and statues of a number of different gods and goddesses. Now this picture on the right hand of the screen is a picture of the Neasden Temple. This is an example of a mandir, a temple in London. Can you see the statues of the different deities that are here? Pause the video and have a look. Okay, so you might have spotted different deities all along the side here, and we are going to learn about some of the different deities in Hinduism today. So, look at these Hindu deities. I want you to look at them closely. Do you recognise any of them? Can you see anything that might hint to you what they might be a god or a goddess of? How are they posed? So how are they sat or stood? What are they holding? And what do you think are their attributes? What are their personalities? Pause the video and have a think, and we'll go through it in a minute. Okay, so on the left here, this is Brahma. Now Brahma is known as the creator. Brahma created the world and the human race. So he created all the humans in the world according to the Hindus. His four faces looking every direction. They look north, south, east and west. So what does this tell you about Brahma? Brahma is everywhere, okay? So he is the creator of the world. And on the right here, we have Saraswati. And Saraswati and Brahma were husband and wife. She is the goddess of music and the arts, so she is the goddess of performing arts. And here she is playing an instrument called the veena. Have you heard of a veena before? Interesting. So a veena is what she is holding here, and it's a bit like a harp. So it's an instrument with strings that when you pluck the strings, they play a different sound. And that's what she plays because she's the goddess of music and the arts. I want you to have a look at these two deities and decide whether you think you know what their attributes are, what they might be a god or a goddess of, what they're holding that gives you a clue, and what they look like, how they're standing. Pause the video and have a think. Okay, let's see if you have the same ideas of what we're going to tell you now. So on the left is Vishnu. Vishnu is a god and he is the preserver. Now, when you preserve something, it means you protect something. You make sure that it's safe, and that's what he did with the earth. He protected the earth from being destroyed. In one of his left hands, he holds something called a mace. Now, this is a club-like weapon, and this is used to make sure that he can protect the earth from being destroyed. So you can see here in his hands that he is holding this mace, a club-like weapon. On the right is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is married to Vishnu, and she is the goddess of beauty, wealth, and prosperity. And she is shown holding gold. Why do you think that in her hands she is holding gold? Well, yeah, to show that she is the goddess of this wealth, of money. Well done. You can see here that she's got lots of other things. She's sat on a lotus flower. She's got, there are some elephants here pouring, it looks like water on her, showing that she is really recognised for her beauty, her wealth. Okay? The final two that we're going to look at together now are these two here. Now I want you to think, what do you think these deities represent? What are they holding? What do they look like? How are they sitting or standing? Pause the video one last time and have a think, please. Okay, so on the left is Shiva. Shiva is the destroyer. Now he removes all the evil from the world. So he makes sure that there is no evil in the world. And we can see Shiva is the colour blue. And the reason why he is the colour blue is because, according to a legend, now, if something is a legend, does that mean it's always true? No, it's not always true, but we just think it's true. So according to a legend, he swallowed poison in order to save the universe. So that is how he removes all of the evil, and that's how he'd done it previously. And that is why he was the colour blue today, because he swallowed poison to make sure that the universe was saved. The final god that we are going to look at today is Ganesha. Ganesha is the remover of all obstacles. So when people buy a business or buy a car or begin something else important that they want to invest in, Hindus worship Ganesha because they believe that he is going to remove all obstacles that might be in the way of you achieving success. He is shown holding a bowl of sweets here that are given to him by a worshipper. Okay. So we've learnt about 6 gods and goddesses, the deities today, that Hindus look up to, okay? Now, I want you to think, just as a plenary, what do you think about the Hindu beliefs that God is represented in different forms? And how is this similar or different to other religions that you know? Pause the video here and have a think, please. Okay. Well done for listening today, Year 4. I hope you found out lots more about Hinduism. So, your task for today, you are going to get the choice of whether you want to look at the first information sheet all about Ganesha, the god of intellect, wisdom and overcoming obstacles, or whether you want to look at Brahma and Saraswati. So, your task is choose one of the following information sheets. Read all of the information on that sheet, making sure you understand what it is telling you and what you have learned. And then I want you to decide which parts are most interesting or important. So what bits do you remember just from reading it once? Then I would like you to make a list of between 6 and 10 key points that you found out, and either turn this into a poster showing your new knowledge, but don't forget pictures, or you can choose to give a 30 to 60-second spoken presentation about the Hindu god or goddess that you have researched today. So that is your task for today. When you have chosen to do either the poster or a spoken speech or a presentation, you then have your final task for RE today. Now, we've learned today that the Hindu gods and goddesses represent different aspects of this supreme god, Brahman. And I would like you to make a collage showing aspects of your personality. So what type of person are you? What do you like doing? What's your characteristics like? Are you a kind person? Are you patient? What do you wear for different occasions or activities? You might wear something when you're doing sport or something when you're doing something else. And what objects are precious to you? Because we saw that some of the deities today were holding specific objects because that reflected the type of person that they were. And I would like you to try and make a collage showing your personality. If you would like, it can only be half an A4 sheet, and you can cut out pictures, use any scrap art or materials, or draw images to make your collage. But this is your time to really show Miss Newman what type of person you are. What personality do you have? What do you like doing? What is precious to you? So that is your task for today, Year 4. Thank you for listening and have a lovely rest of your afternoon. I will see you in our next lesson. Bye, Year 4.